Hey, what's up guys, TechTine here and I'm back again with a brand new video. Before I begin, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy my content, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So with that being said, I've spent 3 days with the Samsung Galaxy A36. I made it my main phone so I can see what's up with this phone so far. Now obviously 3 days is enough to sort of give you guys an initial review, but not enough for me to give you a final conclusion. So for that, I think I'll keep making sort of like a 3-month later review and 6-month later review. So for all that, just stay tuned, stay subscribed. So the first thing that I want to discuss here is within the design of the phone. Obviously the biggest thing that they've changed is the way that they arranged the camera design, which has this kind of oval ring all the way around it, and it looks refreshing, I would say. The back still is this glossy material that does catch fingerprints, so if you're not a fan of that before, it's just that's what you get this year again. And on the right hand side you do have your power button / volume up and down, and you still have this kind of crease that leads up to the power button, volume up and down. It's a little bit less intrusive. They did make it smaller for you guys to be able to access your buttons a little bit easier. On the bottom hand side of the phone, you will have your USB-C that does support 45 watt of really fast charging, your SIM tray, as well as your bottom facing speaker. More on those things later on in the video, but essentially that's basically the story behind the design. Think of it as the Galaxy A36 getting a facelift. It's not a complete redesign, but it does look a little bit refreshing. So I would not jump the gun and get the phone strictly for a design perspective though, which is why I want to bring up the next discussion, and that is the display of the Galaxy A36. So Samsung has also made subtle improvements in the display. So you get a 6.7-inch 1080p display, and one of the biggest advantages of this display is the brightness. So it did get brighter than the previous generation, so it does have a peak brightness of 1900 nits, but basically the high brightness that you can get while using the phone is 1200 nits. So technically it does support HDR, however they didn't really give it full access to HDR content. Now it does use Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus. In addition to all that, it does support 120 Hz of high refresh rate, and if we're looking at the bezels, they're still a little bit on the larger side, so it does have this kind of 86.5% screen to body ratio, which is very similar to the previous generation. I think the previous generation did have slightly bigger bezels, but it's nothing too dramatic that you'd be able to tell the difference. Overall though, the display is something that I feel like a lot of people would enjoy. It's a really nice display, very bright for outdoor conditions, and watching content, doing anything that obviously requires you to use this display, which is damn near everything, is going to be definitely a fun experience. So watching videos, going through social media, taking notes, doing your basic things or your basic needs behind the phone, even gaming, you would enjoy the experience just by using this display. So all in all, this is definitely one of the best displays that you can get on the market for $399, no doubts about it. So they did a really good job within the display department. I wish they would have just put in the HDR content, but let's be real, I mean, I don't think a lot of people even take advantage of that anyway, so that's cool. Overall, really nice display. So I want to switch the conversation to the camera department. So the camera here, you get a triple camera setup, a 50 megapixel main sensor at f1.8 aperture, and you do get optical image stabilization with that. You get an 8 megapixel 123 degrees of ultra wide, and you also get a 5 megapixel f2.4 aperture. And you also have the ability to record video at 4K at 30 frames per second or 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. The front-facing camera is 12 megapixels that can also record 4K at 30 frames per second. Also, the camera interface did get a slight refresh with this new Android update, but the basic controls are still here. So you have the ability to switch between your photo, your video, and if you click on the more option, you have the ability to go through pro mode, panorama, hyperlapse, even pro video and night photography, and even slow motion, even though this phone does not fully support super slow-mo videos. In addition to all that, you also have in addition to all that, you have some extra stuff like these different extra filters that you can choose, and also control sort of the color, temperature, contrast, saturation. So that's also something that I feel like some people may use, others may just ignore. And it does have obviously the Samsung intelligent features, which you do have to have like a Samsung account to use, but more on that in a different video. So I want to speak though on the image quality. It did get slight improvement from the previous generation, but the same story goes. There are overall some decent pictures. In some scenarios, these pictures are slightly overexposed and the color accuracy is not going to be all that good. Now, this picture here, it did seem like this phone missed focus, but because it was so windy, it was hard for the phone to focus in general. Overall though, from the kind of 3 days that I've spent with this phone and taking these pictures, I would say that the main sensor is respectable. The ultra wide will lose on color and it does become slightly less bright. The selfie camera is definitely really good, and the video capability is something that I want you guys to watch. It does a really nice job in the video department, especially the microphone on the video. Hey, what's up guys, TechTime here, and this is your video test of the Galaxy A36 5G. So this one is capable of shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second, and one of the things that I've noticed about it is the autofocus when shooting video is actually fairly quick. Now obviously when it comes to moving subjects it does miss, but that's understandable. And you can easily switch between your main sensor as well as all at the same time with no lag. That's pretty cool. And you can even go in up to 10 times. But yeah, and if you want to go even crazier, your front-facing camera while still shooting a video. So it does that all simultaneously, which is a really nice feature that I wish a lot of other phones would do. So yeah, this is your quick video of the Galaxy A36. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So now I want to speak on the performance of the Galaxy A36. So here's your following specs. So you do get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 based on a 4nm architecture, and it is octa-core. The Adreno 710 is your GPU, 128GB of base storage and 6GB of RAM. Also you have 5000 mAh battery with 45 watt of super fast charging speed. So it does come standard with Android 15, and you get up to, well, Samsung promises up to 6 major Android upgrades with One UI 7 as the skin of the phone. And basically the story is this phone does perform good, but I can't say that it's way better than the previous generation. As a matter of fact, it kind of performs very similar to the previous generation, especially with benchmark scores, so they weren't really that far off. The other thing that I want to mention is that this phone still doesn't have any wireless charging, but that's a conversation for another day. So your benchmark scores, you'll get 1008 for your single core and 2894 for your multi-core, and the battery life on here is really good, but then again, this is a new phone, so the battery didn't really have time to degrade. The fast charging speeds is also really good, so I was able to get 50% in roughly 30 minutes and full charge in about 70 minutes. So that's really where you're at as far as quick charging. Playing games on this phone was a really fun experience as well. I didn't really have any issues with it. It did get warm up at the top where the camera is, but it wasn't nothing too crazy. So playing games, going through social media, going through your apps, it's good. And I guess it's nice the fact that it does have an updated Android version that makes this phone slightly more future-proof than previous devices. Now, overall though, if I were to sort of give you guys a 3-day conclusion on this phone, whether I recommend it or not, as of right now, I wouldn't jump the gun if you have the Galaxy A35. I want to wait and see how well this phone performs 3 months down the line or 6 months down the line. Right now, this phone is pretty good. It did get a facelift as far as design. It wasn't complete redesign, and the display is brighter. The camera, I still can say that other than the video capability, still takes the same pictures or very similar picture quality as the previous generation. It does also bring in IP68, by the way, water and dust resistant capabilities. So if that's important to you, I guess go ahead and upgrade. But still $399, still a solid phone. Stay tuned for more videos on the Galaxy A36. So we'll see how this phone performs down the line when it comes to using it on a daily basis for a sustained period of time. So for that video, it's just a matter of time. Give me guys like a month or two and I'll see if this phone is worth it for you all. As of right now, like I said, if you have the A35, don't upgrade. It's not worth it just yet. So make sure you subscribe, stay tuned for more videos, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you all for watching.